Welcome everyone to the Brady Breakdown Survivor Edition. Here we are talking episode 8 of Survivor Season 50, Double the Fun and Double the Demise. And on Survivor 50, it was double the fun and double the demise, and somehow Coach and Christy managed to find both ends of that deal. But tonight we're breaking down the historic double duo blindside, the pairing twist that melted everyone's brains, and asking the only questions that matter: did production just give us peak chaos or a war crime against strategy? A lot of flack, a lot of pushback from the fans on this episode, from what I'm seeing on social media. My name is Justin, and I'm here with my co-host, Rachelle. How are you doing today, Rachelle?
Hello, I'm excited to be here to talk about this double duo.
Yeah, what did you think initially of this when they were talking about it, introducing it, and it's like double? First of all, they're teaming up in pairs to do the challenge, and then they reveal 2 people are going to get eliminated.
I loved it. I thought it was really great because anytime you get to have a different kind of elimination, that's very interesting. Mm-hmm. And I loved that your fate in the game depended on somebody else's performance and or how they were doing in the game, and I thought that was just really a cool twist.
Yeah, I liked it initially, and I still do. I think it's good to mix it up. I mean, I don't want to see the same thing over and over. You got to mix it up. Yeah. And I thought this was a great way to do it. One of the criticisms is they keep saying, well, the fans voted this, the fans voted that. And people are like, did we really? Or is this just people, the production giving themselves an out if people don't like it?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's fun to watch everybody's reactions to it. But one thing we want to get into first off is, throughout the past couple episodes, there's been this talk about the middle group.
Yeah.
And last episode, Coach was called out for intentionally talking about this middle group, talking bad about them. And one of the members, Rick, was standing right there, so you got to talk. That's when Rizzo pulled him aside and stuff. So, and that came up again this episode, the middle group.
Yeah. Like, that was a big miss on Coach's part last game.
Yeah.
But it is really important as you're playing the game to identify the different groupings and to know who is aligned with whom. And what was really interesting this game is that a lot of people aren't aware that Cirie is aligned with Rizzo. Yeah. So immediately Cirie knew that people were after her alliance. And so, she immediately wanted to then go Coach and Chrissy, and Chrissy was the one doing it, and so that's where Cirie was just like, no, okay, well, done deals. Now there's no question. I want it to be Chrissy and Coach.
Yeah. So I don't, at this point, especially after the episode, like for moving forward and the new episodes coming up, I don't think there is a middle group anymore.
Right.
I think we got 3 different groups with equal power, equal or agendas that are just as important to them. And the 3 different groups that I'm seeing are Cirie, Ozzy, and Rizzo. Cirie and Ozzy have been aligned since episode 1. They just haven't really talked about it, and I don't think a lot of people know about it, if anybody. And Rizzo got lumped in there. They both like him, and so he's part of the group. But he's also had, like we talked about before, he's got other things going on with other people.
Yeah. And
then another group is Jonathan, Joe, Stephanie, and for this episode, Coach and Chrissy.
Yep. And
then the other group, the alleged middle group, was Rick, Aubrey, Emily, and Christian.
Yeah.
So is that a fair assessment, or what's your take on this middle group, now 3 different groups?
Well, what's interesting is that the other 2 groups keep talking about this middle group like they're swaying one side to the other, and they're not. They're a pretty solid alliance. Uh-huh. They are voting with each other. They know what they want to do. And I suppose when they say middle group, they're referring to power. Like, they have less power than the other 2 polarized groups. Maybe that's what middle group means to them. But now that Coach and Chrissy are voted out, now the power is pretty evenly spread. Yeah. So you can't really call them a middle group. I think you're right. We have 3 solid alliances.
Mm-hmm. And the one person not mentioned is Tiffany. Her people are slowly getting voted out. And she's...
Well, she didn't have that many people to begin with.
True.
Really, she had D, and D's gone. Mm-hmm. So she was hungry for an alliance.
Yep. And we saw during this challenge, she was able to, for some reason, her and Joe teamed up.
Yep.
I didn't.
We didn't see a lot about why that was, but I think it was, like sometimes it's process of elimination. Other people pick their groups and you take who's left. And I think Joe took who's left, right?
Well, I think Tiffany's a strong competitor.
She is, but she's not aligned with anybody. So people weren't,
immediately going to her.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so they pair up before they even leave the camp.
Right.
And so they don't really know what they're going to do. They know it's some type of challenge.
Yeah.
Physical, most likely, right? So they go and they get there and Jeff starts explaining it. They see what they need to do. And it's like, okay. But then he drops the bomb on them.
Yeah.
It's not just one elimination. If one team loses, they're both getting...
Yeah.
Possibly both go home.
That's right. And I thought this was a really different thing to do. Like it was unpredictable.
Yeah.
And that's what you want in Survivor. You want moments where people don't see it coming. So many moments in Survivor are predictable. There's going to be a merge. You're pretty sure they're going to be idols of some sort. So they've adjusted the rules a little bit on the idol, but there are idols. There's, Exile Island, so there are some sort of predictable things that are happening. So to have a double elimination and to have your pairing can affect whether or not you get voted out. That is very unpredictable. And so I thought it was really great writing.
Yeah. And then speaking of throwing in some loops, there was one person left who didn't team up, and that ended up being Cirie. And then she was informed that she's going to Exile Island. So she left before the challenge even started. But when she gets there, she has a chance to come back.
I love it.
She has to search like 2,000 coconuts and find the one with the phoenix on it. And she's able to do that.
Again, I thought this was brilliant design. Mm-hmm. People are then also thinking that she is stuck on Exile Island all night long and she's definitely not going to be part of the vote. So it was really unpredictable, again, that she had an opportunity to come back.
Yeah. And we'll get into that effect a little bit later, but it definitely changed the game.
Absolutely.
For Tribal Council.
Mm-hmm.
So as they back on the challenge, they do it. The first three that finish, they end up moving on to the next part of it, where whoever wins that out of those three wins immunity.
Yeah.
And again, Joe, this time with Tiffany, they start off slow, but he comes back, and they come roaring back, and they end up winning this challenge. So again, Joe redeems himself. I don't think he really had to redeem himself this time, but they were behind.
Yeah. Well, and I thought this was really good too. It made for really interesting gameplay this time because Tiffany would have been the easy vote.
Yeah.
So where Joe and Tiffany got immunity, then all of a sudden she was off the table. So then people had to start turning to other options, which really shook things up quite a bit. Yeah. And as we saw when Cirie came back, she really influenced that vote. And, Ozzy was thinking Emily and...
No, Emily and Rizzo.
Emily and Rizzo.
Emily and Rizzo and Christian and Aubrey were being talked about. Mm-hmm. They also got votes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Tiffany got, 4 votes last Tribal Council. Right. So she was, her name was out there. The people looking at her. So she saved herself. And her and Joe got to eat spaghetti.
Yeah. Yeah, so they got reward and immunity.
Yep.
And Cirie got immunity as well.
Yeah, by default.
So she's out on the island. She had to find the coconut with the Phoenix. I did think that was a bit over dramatized.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She's looking like really searching on each coconut, and sure, the sun was beating down quite a bit. When you have 2,000 coconuts to look at, it did seem like she was taking too much time looking at each one, picking them up.
Yeah.
And I thought I would have taken like a quick view through the, just to sort of see what was there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like take an initial And the Phoenix was big enough that you probably would have seen it with just a pass, a quick pass throughout the display. But she did end up finding it in the allotted time anyway, and it was pretty dramatic for her, but maybe a little bit too dramatic for my taste.
Yeah.
But the point is that it really did change the vote, and she was able to come back and then influence the rest of the survivors to vote the way she wanted to vote, which was they were going out after Rick and Aubrey, but she influenced everyone to vote for Coach and Chrissy.
Chrissy, yeah. And I would have voted Rick and Aubrey. I still think that was the better choice.
I do too.
So I think, because you can get Coach and Chrissy anytime.
Yeah.
You just use them as shields, as a number, and then when the time comes, get rid of them. Because no one likes them, or they were getting on everybody's nerves is what it was. And so you can do that anytime.
It's easy to convince people.
Yeah.
And Emily and Christian really are two players that are kind of flying under the radar. And Emily is, we've seen her just blab out confidences right and left. She's kind of playing the stupid game, but it's very intentional from my perspective.
Okay. And
she really is a dangerous player, and I agree with you. They should have gotten her out. More people should be talking about Emily, and she should be on the chopping block. What I found really interesting this episode, I almost wanted to start counting her eye rolls.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, like it was several times in the episode she was, she to me it seems like she has she feels like she's yielding quite a bit of power, and we saw in this episode it's actually true because she didn't get votes. Coach and Chrissy did.
Yeah. Who's paired up with Christian?
Devens and Emily. Oh, who was in the challenge?
Yeah.
It was...
it's Jonathan.
Jonathan. Yeah. Remember he said when a giant comes and taps you on the shoulder, you do what they say? Yeah,
because I wanted to bring up, they got into a little... I don't know. You could tell Jonathan was mad because they had it, and then... Because they were one of the top two, and then Christian messed up on the planks, and you could tell Jonathan was miffed by that.
I was very surprised that Jonathan would pick Christian for a partner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he was thinking, I got the physicality of it, but I need a brain in case there's a big puzzle or something, So I think that was his line of thinking. But, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, interesting pick.
But there's other people that are brains in this.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to pick Rick.
Right.
or Emily, but... Anyways, so it was interesting to see once Cirie came back, the whole dynamic changed, like you were saying. It totally did. And I think Coach and Chrissy, let's get into the tribal, because that's where I was going next with it, is they're there talking, and everybody seemed like before they went to tribal, there was this, Rick and Aubrey and Rizzo and Emily and blah, 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 they throwing out the pairs. But when they got there again, it was pretty much a unanimous vote.
It was.
So I think that was the misdirect. But when they went to tribal, they knew what they were doing.
It's hard to say, actually, because when Rick pulled out the fake idol, that may have influenced people's decisions. So they might have been on the fence which way to go. And then if Rick had an idol, then they didn't want to waste their vote on Rick. So then they all...
Right. I disagree with that, though. I think it came into, like, they thought about it, but they were like, well, we don't know, so we're going to table that. And we're going to go with the original plan of
But then they didn't, so...
With Coach and Chrissy. Everybody.
Well, here's the thing. If Rick had pulled out the fake idol, and everyone was going to vote Coach and Chrissy anyway, then all of those discussions would have been completely unnecessary. Yeah.
Well, I think because they were questioning the idol, I think is what it was. And Chrissy was pushing, hey, show us the idol. And so was Stephanie. Hey, is this real? Because they were still advocating for those guys, but pretty much everybody was still aligned with Coach and Chrissy.
In the end, everybody voted Coach and
Yeah.
Christy, right?
Yeah.
Chrissy.
But I think they should have put more pressure on Devens. Because the reason he got away with it is because of his reputation of finding idols all the time.
And this whole thing about knowledge is power, so I'm not going to show you the idol.
Yeah.
That kind of was a dead giveaway.
Yeah. I mean, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
If you feel like
you
you're
have
on the,
it, you're going to dangle it in front of everybody's nose.
If you feel like you're on the chopping block, like, yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can vote for me, but I'm safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I think that'll get him eliminated. Because I think people will look at that and be, oh, he's a liar. We can't trust him. And
I mean, it could be, but he was going to get eliminated anyway. I mean, from his perspective, right?
It was funny because they did show Christian a couple times, and he was just like, no, dude, not now. You could just tell. It was like, at least that's what I took from it. Like, this isn't the time for this. You played your card too soon. So he was kind of rolling his eyes a little bit with that. So,
well,
but I think with these pairings, new alliances are going to form.
Yeah.
We're going to see it with Joe and Tiffany. Will we see it with these other people? Christian and Jonathan. Or something.
I think that's a hard sell because Christian is so aligned with Devens.
Right.
And Jonathan.
But Christian, like I was saying, Christian's like, well,
he could flip.
They're going to go after him because they're going to find out it's a fake idol. So I don't want to be associated with him anymore. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but I don't know.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Christian plays the new game or the old game, right?
Yeah.
We'll see.
So I think a lot of potential from this episode, a lot of shifts are going to happen.
Yeah.
I do think Ozzy and Cirie are still tight.
Very.
I don't think that's going to change.
Agree. And Rizzo.
And now he's aligned with Emily, so I think she's going to be brought in. And Ozzy's wanting to work with Emily in this episode. He talked with her. But I think maybe they're using her as a shield, because that is the dumbest move ever to include Emily with anything.
Sure is.
You can't trust her.
No.
So, but yeah, with the elimination of Coach and Chrissy, you like that?
I mean, there were worse picks, and I'm happy to see them go. I won't miss them.
You've been talking about getting rid of Coach for a couple episodes now. So, yeah. I mean, I don't have any skin in the game with him other than, like I said before, just keep him around long enough so my favorites can make it further. But I don't have a problem. And Chrissy was going to go, if she wasn't going this episode, it was going to be soon. So
yeah, I really think, I think people need to get smart about Emily and Devens quickly. So if they didn't go this episode, they need to be thinking about those guys. But the thing about it is you can never be too sure because you never know who's going to get immunity.
Yeah, that throws a wrench in the game every time.
Yep.
But I just don't see why people aren't advocating to get Cirie out, because everyone knows she's
a threat.
She's a social game wizard.
Her strategy this episode was pretty clever because she played the underdog role very well, right? And she said it multiple times. Well, I didn't want to bring anybody down.
Yeah.
I didn't want to impact anybody else's immunity. And so it was easier just to go by myself. And so she's almost framing herself as an underdog.
Yeah.
And then she comes back and she has all sorts of power and influence on the vote. Yeah. So that was really strategic from her perspective, to play this role of, like, I'm the last pick on the team, and yet she has a pretty solid alliance. Mm-hmm. So this is really good strategy for her.
It definitely is. And I just don't see, these people have watched Survivor.
Right.
They've played Survivor. And they just give her a pass every time.
But she's never won. So I mean, there is a difference. Like,
true.
They wanted Dee out. Dee was a winner.
Yeah.
Right? They wanted, Savannah was a winner. They wanted her out.
Yeah.
So.
But she's dangerous.
She is dangerous. This might be her game.
Yeah, I know. This might be her year. So I just don't get it why people keep letting her slide. They don't, either they
see
her as a threat, but they're willing
She's just so likable.
Yeah. But you can't like people on Survivor.
Right. Yeah, it's easy to say and hard to do though.
Right. Yeah, I'm
because remember, you're sitting there 24/7 with these people. And so the minutest of ticks could just get on your nerves. And so even if they're the biggest threat, if they're annoying to you.
Yeah, I think that's why Coach went home.
Exactly.
Because they showed up multiple times. The haikus, the stupid mistakes he made.
Yeah, so to me, Emily is a much bigger threat than Coach. But to your point, people are done with Coach.
Yeah.
You know, like.
And to some degree with Chrissy, too.
And with Chrissy, yeah, she's so bossy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And Cirie's so likable, so they're just letting her slide.
Yeah.
And then she's going to bite him. She's going to get rid of him.
She is, but she's probably going to have... So, she has such a solid alliance that it's going to help her for a while.
Yeah, the more people that go home, that alliance is just going to get stronger and harder to get rid of her.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So it'll be fun to watch. I'm excited. I really liked this episode. On a scale of 0 to 5, I give this one a 5.
Wow.
It was fun.
Okay.
The last episode was a 5 as well. So it's getting better. Like they weren't bad before, but they're getting better.
I agree. I really do like these twists. I like that they're changing it up. I like that we're seeing new things and impactful rules that really impact the game. Yeah. And, these surprises are just really what we want to tune in and watch Survivor for. Like we want to see new challenges, right? New rules that players have not seen before, so they won't have experience in how to combat them.
Yeah, it throws them for a loop.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I really like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yep. All right. Well, it looks like 2 torches aren't the only things getting snuffed tonight. This episode is too. As we wrap it up, that's it for our Survivor 50 episode 8 breakdown. We've survived the double duo twist, questioned production's life choices in this in these twists, and probably overanalyzed Cirie's influence for the 5th week in a row. But if you enjoyed hanging out with this beautiful mess of strategy and chaos, follow, subscribe, leave a review, like the channel, like the video. Helps other Survivor nerds find out, our show. But until next time, may our alliances be solid, your idols be real, and your partner not be the one dragging you down to double the demise. My name is Justin, and this is Rachelle, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye, everybody.